So this is stamped, but it's really paint splatter, and I like it, and I'm gonna leave it there. And it's kind of a simple one, and that's great. And this one is stamp, and I'm gonna leave these with the backs unfinished so that these can be finished later, but also just to kind of save me a little bit of time right now. This would be cool if you could do a little bit of gold embossing on the edge of this. I think that would be a cool touch. Anyway, I'm going to, well, I'll give you an ending. Thank you for joining me. These are, I think, 13 and 14, and did I just look? Yes, and I don't remember if it was, anyway, 13 and 14 is stamped and paint splatter, and this is stamp and this is paint splatter, and these are both very fun, very different cards. This one, I guess, would be very traditional kind of a look. It's very pretty, it's gold embossed. Stamping this, I stamped this beautiful stamp that I have twice, and I cut out the images in the center and the frame and put the frames and allowed the frames to kind of frame this out. And it's just one stamp, and I've done two different techniques. So I did the gold bossing using the Versamark, and also using the Versamark I used some chalk pastels from, I use Stampin' Up, but you could use Dina Weekly or whatever you happen to have in the land of chalks to pick up the Versamark where I stamped this, and that's the green on the back. So I just did a little bit of brown, but also a little bit of mostly green. And then this is a stamp that I made myself, a foam stamp, and I did a jelly print, and I also used some things to stamp, I guess, onto the jelly print and make different textures. So you can see the circles here and this, and I did a couple of different layers on the jelly pulls until I kind of worked out how I could get this to work. This has been a thing that I wanted to play with. I got these foam stamps partially because I wanted to use them on the jelly plate, and I finally am kind of getting around to it, so it's very cool. This is just it's a very fun technique and very fun. And I also had a little bit of background stamping and some paint splatters. This one has paint splatter and stamping, and a lot of different techniques to just make this look really cool and very grungy and very urban grunge, and very contrasting with this very traditional Japanese style stamp piece. I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to clean up because I have other things to do. Follow the hashtag 50stackchallenge7 to see what other creators are doing. And a big huge thanks to Amy at Crafty Cat for hosting this. It's been so fun. And a huge thank you to everybody who watches my channel. And yes, I'll put this at the beginning. And so I will kind of speed this up and explain what I'm doing with a voiceover after the fact. But these are what I'm making today, and this is for the 50 Stack Challenge, hosted by Amy at Crafty Cat, and it's a fabulous challenge. Jump in, make your own ephemera. I'm making journal cards. You don't have to make journal cards. You can make really any kind of ephemera you want. I don't think that there's any rules. I don't think you have to stick with the same type of ephemera. That's what I'm doing, but I don't think you have to. But again, I'm just excited about making a stack of 50 of something, and I'm making journal cards, and I think these are going to be a lot of fun to use in my journals, and to just make and use. And I am so, again, I just got 300 subscribers. I want to thank each and every one of the people who subscribe to my channel, and to everyone who has helped me out, and everybody in the community who watches and is so supportive and so lovely and wonderful. And a huge thank you to all of you. If you found yourself here and you're not subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button to be notified. I am doing lots of fun and interesting things at my channel. Hi everybody, I am working on the hashtag 50 stack challenge, which is hosted by Amy at Crafty Cat. And I've been having a really good time, and the prompt I am working on is paint splatter. So here is what I decided to do. I have just really been wanting to use my jelly plate and do that, and so I decided I would use it for this and for this card. And I spent a couple of pulls just really trying to find the pull that I wanted to use. So the first couple weren't really what I was looking for, so you're gonna see me we're gonna watch and I'll tell you what I'm doing. So basically I was just kind of the reason I wanted to play with my gel plate today. Let's start with that. How about that? I have these foam stamps that I made, and I made them specifically for using with the jelly plate, and I haven't really gotten a chance to play around with that as much as I wanted to. And since the other prompt that I'm going to do today is stamp with like a rubber stamp or a foam stamp or something like a stamping material, I thought that this would work for that, and so I could kind of combine my gel plate with doing that. So that's how I arrived at this. This was just kind of a thing that I am super excited to try out and just haven't had a chance to do. So this is the foam stamps that I've been making, and I think maybe I have shown these before in this series with the 50 stack challenge, but I can't think of it. Maybe I haven't. Anyway, so basically I made these out of just a piece of fun foam, and you draw whatever it is you want to use, and I'm using this sitting cat stamp that I made, which is not, I don't think I have a video for that, but it's super easy. And oh, I saw it, Hazy Crazy Crazy Arts did a very similar stamp, and this is an idea I actually got from her. This did not work the way that I thought it was going to. So as you can see, you can't see the cat at all, and I got way too much. I dripped water onto the gel plate before I pulled it, so you can see it's very, very wet. So I'm going to set that aside, and that's okay, because we're just going to go again. And so I'm doing my pulls today on a piece of deli paper, which is, I mean, deli paper like you would get from, you know, the bakery where you do self-serve donuts or something, but I just have a big box of deli paper, and it's super inexpensive, and is really great for, I like it for this because it has this really cool kind of translucent quality to the paper, so you can see behind it. It's just really fun to work with. So and I got a big box of it a long time ago, and I will not be running out of it anytime soon. So I can make as many prints as I want, and I don't have to worry about going through like any like expensive mixed media paper. Or I usually do my jelly prints on, like, if I'm not using that, I just use copy paper. And as you can see, I'm using really inexpensive just craft paints today on here, and I'm just choosing like blues and purples, and then I decided to do this black color. And what will she do next? Oh, so I have I have a collection of mark making tools. You can see that's just a piece of cardboard that's corrugated, and I've torn away one side so you get these cool lines. And the other thing that I have is a piece of just cardstock that has a piece of not gauze, cheesecloth glued down on it, or on the other side it has this just mesh fabric that's got little circles on it. And so these are really great kind of tools, and I would count these also as stamps. So this video, I think, has got a lot of interesting ways, alternate ways to stamp, and just has a lot of different stamping techniques. So you can see that I'm using, like, I made foam stamps already. There's the corrugated cardboard that I use, and the different texture making things. I could give you I maybe do a bigger video that has some, like, I can show you my bag of, like, things for making marks, because it's kind of an interesting bag. It might be kind of fun. But, I mean, so I'm using those as stamps. And so now I have a pull of that, and I wasn't really happy with that pull either. And so, but now you can see I've started to load these layers onto the jelly print, and you can still see where it's got that faint black outline, and I think that this is the one that works, and I'm pretty happy. So I have that where I've pulled the black paint off, but it still has this kind of ghost image with some of that corrugated, like, black. And so I start putting a lighter layer on after I've stamped the cat stamp. So I've stamped the cat stamp, and I used a black paint. I was thinking about using an ink because of what I was finding was it wasn't pulling enough of the paint off for me to see that. And then I go back in and I'm adding another layer and pulling off some of this paint layer with the mark making tools. And this is where I believe I get the pull where we see the lines from that black corrugated, where I pulled off most of the paint but left some of it. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. And this comes out absolutely stunning. This card is actually, like, I can see it over by my desk right now. That's where I have these cards stored, and it is just gorgeous. Okay, so really love this, and I've just used, like, a bunch of different paints and rolled it out. You can see the black corrugation, and you can see just different things. And so I'm adding splatters, and I decided not to add the splatters. I had tried adding the splatters to the jelly print, and that actually worked pretty well. But on this pull, I decided to add the splatters after the fact, and I really liked this. I thought it looked very urban and very graffiti-like. Like it's just some graffiti on a wall on a warehouse somewhere. So I thought this came out really cool. I set that aside to dry while I worked on the other card, so you see a little skip there. So I come back and again, I was thinking that maybe I would, if there was some spaces you could see behind the deli paper, but this is pretty solid, which is fine too. So I'm going to go ahead and attach my card and just tear off the edges. I could have trimmed this off, but I kind of like the rougher look of having it like torn. And then what did I decide? I kind of decided which way to do this. I think I wind up putting them on the back of the card. Just because it looks a little bit more unfinished on the back and starts to give it some sort of an interest. So I am ready to kind of finish this up and just add some last details. I do a little bit of like random stamping using a stamp that was just, as you see, kind of already on my desk, but I thought it would be kind of cool and fit this kind of urban theme. And I went back to my foam stamps, and I'm gonna stamp these using I kind of started with green, but I decided I wanted orange, that I thought that the orange would be kind of fun and go really well and add another sort of dimension of color to this card. I really like these round circle foam stamps, and they're pretty super easy to make. You don't have to really be able to make a perfect circle or anything. Just need really sharp embroidery scissors and a piece of foam, really. And then I wanted the cat to stand out a little bit more, so I just went ahead and copied those lines with a little bit more black paint just to make them stand out a little bit. And then I was gonna doodle on this cat, and I still might later, but I added the black border. I also go back and add some spots on the cat. But the border was fun. Since I had some black paint, and it kind of makes it look a little more grungy. Love the layers in the like jelly print here. It looks so good. And the splatters and the stamping, and then where the paint is like running down. It just really, this card has so much depth when you look at it in person. It's just really cool to look at. And part of that, I think, is with starting with the deli paper, because it does have that kind of translucent layer behind it. So very cool card. Love that card. Love how that came out. Anyway, so this is the idea for the other card. So I have this gorgeous, gorgeous stamp, and I've had it for a long time, and this is how I used it the last time, a long time ago that I used it, but I'm happy to pull it out and do it again. So I decided that I was going to stamp it. I wanted kind of a really natural kind of a palette for this. So I have this green and then this kind of taupe or brown card, and I'm going to stamp the image on both of my cardstocks, and I'm going to do two different stamping techniques using the Versamark stamp pad. So the Versamark stamp pad kind of makes a watermark, so you can see that I stamped it, but it doesn't have a lot of color, but it does give you kind of a little bit of a sticky surface. So I'm going to use that sticky surface with our image that the Versamark gives when you stamp with it, and I'm going to use it with some, these are some chalk pastels, and these are from Stampin' Up. And I haven't done this in a long time, but it's kind of a really cool way if you don't want to buy a whole bunch of different colors of stamp pads to get the chalk pastels and the Versamark, and then you can do this in like any color you want. I added a little bit of brown in a couple of places just to see if I liked it, but decided to stay mostly with the greens, and because I wanted to just take that tone on tone watermark and make it a little bit darker. And then for this other one, I'm going to stamp it again on my other piece of cardstock. And then you can see this stamp is really like an outside frame and then an inside frame, and there's two images, and the two images are in even smaller frames. And so I thought it would be really cool to stamp it on two different pages and then cut out the images and the frames and then layer them together in different ways. And if that doesn't make sense, hopefully when I show you it will make sense. So I'm gonna just gold emboss, and so that Versamark will also grab embossing powder, because it's, remember, when you stamp it, it's a little bit sticky, and it's sticky enough to grab hold of your embossing powder. So I'm using it to just do a gold embossed image of this stamp. And this is really how I've used this stamp in the past, and it is so pretty in the gold embossing. The gold embossing is just, it's so pretty. Okay, love that. Love that, how that came out. So now I am, oh, I walked away. I had to go find the X-Acto knife so that I can get in there, because I don't want to like poke big holes in this with my scissors where I'm trying to get it started. But also it's kind of a little, the ruler was like sliding on the embossing powder, and it was hard to see like where the corners were, so I decided to just, once I got this started with the X-Acto knife, I decided to cut it out with the scissors. So I cut that out, and I'm just gonna kind of go every other frame and layer these together so that you can see. So I didn't, as you can see on the other image, I left some of part of the image where I didn't really apply the chalk. So I'm gonna put in that inside the big frame. There you go. I'm gonna put that, glue that down on there. And this would also be cool if you wanted to do, I thought about it but I didn't get it out, put like some dots or something, foam adhesive squares is what I have, to give a little bit of like height to that. But I didn't do that, but that would be a nice thing to do. And this is really just kind of a lot of fussy cutting out these stamped images. Although I will say, I also have those extra pieces of frame that I can use on something else. So I stuck those into my ephemera pile too. And I'm just going to stick this down. I am getting to the end of this, and I recently made 300 subscribers, and I wanted to give a great big thank you to everybody who watches and subs to my channel. It just really means the world to me, that you guys are out there and you watch, and I love doing this so much, and thank you. It really makes my day. So that's it. This card is done. I guess I still am going to ink around the edge. It's very pretty. I was trying to keep things a little bit simple today. But I did still spend about 2 hours making these 2 cards, so at the end of the day. And here at the end, I'm just going to flip through my stack, which is getting really big. I was going to put this at the beginning, and I didn't. So here it is at the end. So that was sticker, and this is ripped. Those were the first 2 prompts. This is green tree. This is potentially like one of my favorites, and that flips up and it flips down, and you can turn it over and it's stamped on the back. I guess you could write on the back too. I would probably leave it, and this one's very cool. I'm trying to pull that front piece off because I need to kind of take it apart and see if I can fix it, because that notebook is kind of stuck in there. And then it's got this other little notebook place stuck on there, or in a pocket on the side, and then there's a frame there where you could slide in a sentiment or a picture or whatever you want. So that's a fun journaling card. Lots of fun journaling cards. My stack is getting really big. Anyway, like I said, I need to fix that piece right there. And then this one is just very cool layers, and that was postage stamp, and this is flowers. Oh, that is still available on my Ko-fi shop if you would like to check it out, along with, I think there's another image in there. And that's where I did the foam stamps on this challenge. I thought so, yes. I did. I made flower stamps and cut them out and stamped them on there. This is grunge and ledger paper, and these 2 cards I made together, so they are interchangeable as they're both grunge and they're both ledger paper. Those were really fun. And then the next 2, you can tell I'm doing these in pairs because the next week I was doing gnomes all week long. I did a lot of gnomes that week, and oh, that is not even the theme. That was label and tissue paper gnomes. This is kind of a bonus crack. This is kind of its own little reversible artwork rather than a journal card, but was born out of the idea of crack, which was the theme for this card, where I used modeling paste to do a kind of mini sculpture. Love that I could have used that. That's more like ink splatter than paint splatter, but that's okay. And this is wallpaper. So I will be adding now, as you can tell, stamp and what else did we do? Paint splatter and stamp to my stack here. So thank you for joining, and be sure to like and subscribe if you're not, and leave me a comment down below, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.